Thanks very much, Steve. Firstly, it's just fantastic to be here at this the inaugural CAA conference. Really proud to be here, representing Icon Training. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about training full stop today and how that might be able to positively benefit your businesses. Secondly, before you ask, I am standing up, and I just happen to be the average height of probably most of your activity goers, so apologies for that in advance if you can see me. So 3.5 years ago, I was fortunate enough to become a father. And yes or no, don't look old enough. But yeah, 3.5 years ago, Lily changed my life. And this is what children do, isn't it? It's, I guess probably most of you are in the room for that reason, because you had that affinity to children. Now, I went into fatherhood feeling fairly well prepared, I'd say. I'd done the Tuesday night NCT groups, as you do. Gone through those. Obviously, they leave you really prepared. I'd been an uncle of 3. And I felt in great nick, actually, when I first went into fatherhood. And then all of a sudden, there was this vast and scary and really challenging land of children's activities that nobody had prepared me for at all. But I learned over the course of time that the baby sensory, ribbon time, tumble tots that we went in and did with Lily, and of course swimming, actually. A different brand of swimming to might be in the room, but sorry, Steve. But I promise you it will be next time, honestly. It will be next time. But I learned they weren't such terrible environments. They were great environments to be involved in. As soon as you get past the whole singing nursery rhymes in a swimming pool, it's, yeah, anyway. But it brought me so close to Lily, and it has done over the last 3.5 years to be able to share those experiences with her. And it's been something really quite special. So it's been great to be, getting involved with the CAA, and hence why we're here today. One thing that shocked me though was the realisation that actually large chunks of this sector historically have been pretty much unregulated, and actually it's amongst people like you that are in the room who have come together to really standardise this industry and make it be what it can be. So for this and for so many other reasons, CAA is very close to my heart, and I'm humbled to be humbled by the great work that Sam, Steve and the team are doing at the moment. So anyway, a little bit about me. 33, I'm a parent. I've worked in skills and education now for 11 years, so I'm fairly well guised in this subject. I started off in fitness and leisure for a career for about 3 years, doing personal training and such like, before basically doing every possible, imaginable job within adult education, from tutoring to where I am now, heading up operations at Icon Training. I've seen the power of training over a number of years. I've seen it firsthand, and I've seen the impact it can have on people, on businesses. And what I want to try and help you to understand today is how you can actually unlock some of the scary world of government funding that's out there, training-wise, that's actually available for you to be able to unleash. UK PLC is perceived to have a bit of a skills gap at the moment, and hence why this funding is available. So it's there for all of you to access. So I came to Icon 18 months ago. We're an independently owned national training provider. So we offer training throughout the whole of England and Wales, and we are soon to be up into Scotland and Northern Ireland, so we will have full coverage over the next little while. We were formed originally by this man, who's Julian Laban, some 21 years ago. Julian started his career working in the leisure industry, working in facilities management, before starting a small independent training company, which turned out to be Icon over a number of years. Julian's a real family man. Those values seep into the business full stop, top to bottom. And that with the real driver to be the quality training provider in sector, that sort of sums us up as a business at the moment. The drive for quality saw us get grade 1 outstanding, which if some of you have ever worked with Ofsted before, you'll understand sort of what that means really. We achieved that in February of 2012, and since this time only 5 other independent training providers have actually managed that accolade, so we're very proud to be in that position. That combined with our national achievement rates, which tend to be the highest across the sectors in which we work in, or if not very close to, just show that quality is our sort of benchmark, really. In June this year, we took the absolute no-brainer of a decision to become fellowship members of the CAA. We saw the undeniable link in our missions and saw the opportunity to bring top quality training, hopefully to you guys as a sector. Not that I'm saying there's not already amazing quality of training out there, but we're looking to help standardising in that. So that's where I'm from, rather. But why am I here? Well, there is this misty, murky world out there called government-funded training. So if you even know it exists, you probably have perceived it as being really hard to get hold of, probably too much work, a lot of bureaucracy. So today I'm going to try and give you some insight as to what's actually available for you and how you might actually be able to use some of that funding. So, as he flips one page too quickly, in 2012, Doug Richards, who some of you may remember from the Dragon's Den some time ago, completed a review called the Richards Review. It was looking to workforce training in England, and his results were pretty damning, really. He looked at the fact that employers had little say in the structure of training, or actually in the building of training in the first place, something that he wanted to change. He realised that the skills gap was widening. So over the whole of UK PLC, you could see the gulf was actually widening. We were actually having to import more talent than ever before to fill some of those voids. And too many people were going to university unnecessarily, potentially going and doing a degree when they didn't know what the outcome was going to be and never using that degree in the future. And he said that something needed to be changed. And that did spark a number of changes. The first being that really we need to get more young people into work straight away from the school area. Needs to improve career options for those in employment, and needed to upskill the literacy and numeracy of our workforce. Ultimately, though, it's led to funding and training funding to be more freely available than it ever has been, and for there to be more available. So a few words on the sort of training landscape, really. You may see some of these logos flashed around on TV ads and out in some of the local press and stuff at the moment. But I'll talk you through what they actually are and how they might be able to benefit you a little bit. So firstly, we've got the Department for Education. So these guys essentially decide what funding will be available. So they look at what should be available and where should it go. What's the actual skills gaps that are out there at the moment? What are the national priorities? And they are the link between employment and employability and the government. And also they look after the funding that you'll see and make those decisions within the school environment as well. So you'll see them involved with school. You've then got the Skills Funding Agency, or the SFA. These guys hold the purse string. So these guys actually are the ones who look after the money. They manage what funding is actually available, to whom, and for what for. They're gatekeepers who guarantee value for money for the taxpayer. So we all pay into this part, and they actually look after the governance around that. Funding is mostly available, and you'll see these quite regularly, for around apprenticeships. So apprenticeships probably have connotations for all of you when you hear the word apprentice, and it probably turns you off a little bit, really, because we think about a plumber's mate or somebody in the building trade, probably the brunt of a few jokes, looking for left-handed screwdrivers, tartan paint, that sort of thing. But I want you to change that phrase and forget that word apprentice and change it in your head for work-based learner. Somebody who is in a working environment learning new skills and is employed. Okay, if we take that factor and you realise that it's open for anyone from 16 to 64, anyone who's within working age, then all of a sudden you can see the power of this the particular area that we can use. So if you employ a receptionist who wants to become an activities instructor, that makes them an apprentice-funded work-based learner. So you can use it for your existing workforce. Somebody working on the bookings by day, but then wants to do social media by night, there you go. There you have your apprentice-funded work-based learner. So that apprenticeship funding will be available to all of you. It's hugely important under the current Tory government, and they've committed to making 3 million new apprentices over this term. Hence, more money, more incentives for employers are available than ever before, and especially for smaller businesses, the likes of franchises, and lots of you are actually in this room today. They've next got traineeships, the next logo across there. Now, traineeships involve taking young people aged 16 to 64 and essentially giving them a go. There's a big thing around a forgotten generation of people over the past few years, and this gap is now, this training particularly is trying to unlock the potential within those 16 to 24-year-olds. They probably come from your local community, not in employment or training, and you get an opportunity to actually give them a go. They learn some employment basics. You're under no commitment to actually employ these guys. They get work-based experience from you. Hopefully, at the end of it, yes, they might progress onto one of the apprenticeship routes that are available. But essentially, it's a fantastic free recruitment tool that can be of use to absolutely everybody. You've then got EFA funding. I won't hang around EFA funding too much. It's predominantly around schools and college environments. But there is also sometimes pots of funding that pop up. So if you've got a skills gap, we talk regularly with the EFA to see what funding's around there, and obviously we tend for pots that might be of relevance to our clients. So hopefully, now we're part of the CAA, we'll see opportunities in that area. And then lastly, European social funding. You can see where this is going with Brexit happened not long ago. So this is a pot of funding that for now is used predominantly for supporting apprenticeship funding. So if you imagine apprenticeships are roughly around 60% funded by our own government, and then the balance comes from the ESF for 19 pluses. We're not too panicked about that because we know the funds will be reappropriated in the future. But then ESF fund is also used within local enterprise partners, or LEPs, which you'll all be a part of in one way, shape or form. You will operate a business that operates within a local enterprise partnership. These LEPs are designed to actually support local business. So if you've got a skills gap that's very specific to you, that doesn't fit into the usual national funding pots, we can help you, or you can directly tender for that funding. As long as it develops business within your local community, then that funding is available. All this might seem confusing and difficult to administer, and that's where training providers like us come in. We come take some of that bureaucracy out of your hands and support with managing the funds and making a programme that's actually fit for purpose for you. And what better example of that than what we have come up with for the CAA. So introducing the Children's Activities Leader. So this, well actually on a very wet, flash flood hit 16th of September, Sam Willoughby, Mark Rash, Sue Heron from Tatty Bumpkins, Charlotte Bedford from Table Tots and myself met on Skype in the end, not on on the road, as there's floods everywhere, to discuss how training could be best used, formulated for the association. And the result was this: it was the Children's Activity Leader. This is a government-funded route, so if you've got anybody within working age, there are a couple of small eligibility criteria, but which we can discuss with offline, but pretty much almost everybody would be available to do this particular route. It involves the MVQ Certificate in Activity Leadership, and essentially this is providing staff with proving staff can deliver effectively within their working environment. It includes the planning, delivery and all-round reflection. So they're looking at how they actually reflect on information on a day-to-day basis, and then actually change the training that they do, change the sessions they do on a session-by-session basis. We've then got a diploma, which is essentially the technical element. So the training we've popped into that, and these are just some of the subject areas. They include safeguarding, the planning of sessions, customer care, and also employment law, so employability. In addition, we've all got English and maths as well, which just to make sure essentially that literacy and numeracy is of the skill that you actually want it to be within your workplace, to make sure that the literacy and numeracy skills of your staff reflects you properly, and we know that they can operate their jobs at a high level. It would be absolutely remiss of me to say that I am a subject expert in your particular subject areas. I'm not. I don't know how to run a children's party, football game, a craft session, a drama session. I don't know how to do it. Our staff will probably not know how to do the specifics of those areas. They are niche and you are the experts in those areas. However, what we are experts in and what we can provide quality training for is the generic standardised elements which fit within children's activities. So things like looking at the health and safety that happens within the sessions, it's in the heart of those. What the planning looked like, what the delivery looks like, how we gather parents' feedback, how we reflect and constantly improve. These are the standardised elements which will go across all of your businesses and that we can support you with in a big way. It's funded via the work-based learning route discussed earlier. So staff will need to meet some basic eligibility criteria, but providing they do, there's no other outlay for you as employers. There is absolutely nothing there that you need to look after, other than allowing them some time to actually attend some of these sessions, get into the classroom, or have some one-to-one mentored sessions. It's blended learning, like I say, so one-to-one basis. There'll be workbooks, there could be e-learning. Again, there's umpteen different, 100 different businesses in this room. You will all have your own individual needs that, from training. So it's actually, we can sit, have a chat with you, and you can work out what works best for you. And that might be group learning, it might be one-to-one, and we can bespoke that for you. What's more, as I've already mentioned, there are some potential financial benefits for you as well. So this pot of funding comes with some potentially financial availability for you. So the first one is a £1,500 employer age grant. So this age grant is available for potentially up to 5 people doing this course, and that's actually money in your pocket as businesses. For doing that, to be able to support with having that extra member of staff who potentially you might not have taken on in otherwise. That's available up until April of this year, from which point we have a slight change in funding model, and actually at that point, from May, you'll receive £1,000 for taking on any 16 to 18-year-olds. So if somebody's 18 and 364 days old at the point of their starting their course, you'll receive £1,000 for supporting them through that journey. That's split into 2 different payments. And then immediately and ongoing, so this has already kicked in, started last financial year, you will not pay national insurance contributions for anybody who is under 25 who is engaged on one of these programmes. So if you think about that in terms of somebody working full-time, and I appreciate not everybody will work full-time, but if somebody's working full-time on national minimum wage, that's saving them around £1,000 a year. So again, not chump change, it's there and it's worthwhile having. So how else can this route support you? So actually, I'd had a good long discussion with Amanda, wherever there she is, Dr. Amanda over there, to sort of get some understanding around the CAA accreditation. And subsequently, I've actually mapped the standards of this qualification directly to the accreditation. It directly links to the programme and delivery modules of the accreditation. As many of the criteria are directly linked, including elements such as, but not limited to, the planning, the resourcing, inclusivity, and feedback sections which come within those accreditation units. So, if you feel you would benefit from having a standardised workforce or have a particular skills gap in your business, perhaps something like social media training, customer service or any specifics, please feel free to drop me a line to find out what government funding might actually be available to you. Or even if you need something specifically built for yourselves, we can support with that and try and see what funding might be available for you. You can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm Rich Holmden, training expert. Big head, but you've got to stand out in this social media world. Drop me an email, phone, or a call. Alternatively, obviously, Nick and I will be out in the atrium and available for any questions. Thank you.